morning, everybody. You're watching God's Plan Is Now. I'm your host, Russ Conway. Hope y'all are having a great Monday morning. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. We're able to spend it with your family on Saturday, and then we'll spend it with your church family on Sunday. Well, I am so excited about today's podcast because today I have a special guest speaker, Reverend Benjamin Mundon, who is going to be with us. And I am so excited about him coming on to the Godcast with us and actually doing a message, taking the time out of his busy schedule to do it. Really do appreciate it, Reverend Mundon, and thank you so much. Before we get into the message, I want to go over real quick. Thank you guys, the fans, for actually watching the show. Thank you for sharing the page. If you really want to help God out in his ministry, and you really want to be a big factor, share this video with your friends and family on your Facebook page. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/God's Plan Is Now. And we would greatly appreciate any support you can do for God's ministry here at God's Plan Is Now. Before we start anything, I also want to mention that not 1 week from today, our next guest speaker for God's Plan Is Now is going to be Christy Lynn. Sister Christy Lynn is actually a woman at our church in Life UPC in Hinesville who does a lot of things for the church. She helps out with secretarial positions. She does a lot of great things with the church. So I asked her to come on to kind of help speak more towards the youth of our Godcast, because I feel like everybody needs to be reached and everybody needs to be motivated. Just as much as our young people and our adults. So I'm so excited to see what Christy Lynn brings to the Godcast. I know God is going to use her in a mighty way, so don't forget to tune in here next Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to see Sister Christy Lynn speak on God's behalf. I want to go ahead real quick and go into our next segment. I always like to give honor when honor is due. I want to first of all give honor to God and everything He has done for me in my life. He has been a great influence. He's been a great role model. He's been a great father and a great healer for me. I want to also give honor to my pastor, Josh Warner of the Richmond Hill East Campus Life UPC Church, and my bishop, Tommy Crutchfield of the Mother Church at Life UPC in Hinesville. Thank you guys both for just motivating me and helping to inspire me to do this and to be such great role models for me to learn after and to learn what it is to be a great minister in God's kingdom. Well, without further ado, I want to go ahead and step aside so I can let Brother Reverend Benjamin Mundon come on to the Godcast.
Brother Russell, I want to thank you for what you are doing with this podcast. It's an awesome ministry where people all may be able to listen. And hey, even in space I hear nowadays. But thank you for having me on. First and foremost, I want to give honor to Jesus Christ, first and foremost, because without Him, I would have nothing, I would be nothing, and I would just be lost, one eternally walking around this world. And also, I have to speak of my pastor, Reverend Tommy Crutchfield, for trusting in me in this service of ministry and just helping me along in my way through this walk in life. And definitely to my wife and my children, who if it were not for them, I would not be here. And I am thankful for them. Today what we're talking about is we're talking about the envision of a legacy of righteousness. The envision a legacy of righteousness. In Proverbs 5:1, the Amplified, it reads, "My son, be attentive to my wisdom, incline your ear to my understanding, that you may exercise discretion, good judgment, and your lips may reserve knowledge and answer wisely to temptation." Temptation is something in our world today that is overcoming the world because of the microwave lifestyle that we have nowadays, and temptation is everywhere we look. These wise words were spoken by King Solomon in the early years of his reign. At this time, Israel is a nation that is living up to their worldly and heavenly potential. The nation of Israel is peaceful, prosperous, and they are building a legacy that will affect this world for generations to come. King Solomon left Israel, unfortunately, in a moderately good standing. As viewed to the world, they had everything that was going for them. They had riches, they had peace, they had it all. But spiritually, the legacy that was left to the world, to his nation, and to his children was questionable. As it reads in the scriptures, we are showed that his son Rehoboam took counsel from men that were very unwise, and this was an effect to the nation later to cause it to be split and into two kingdoms. You know, a lot of times we look at the word legacy, and we always think of envisioning a legacy as someone leaving you money or material items, but it's not always so. I looked it up in Webster's dictionary, and the first definition was something that was relegated to monetary value. It states a gift by will, especially of money or other personal property. You know, all of us think about, constantly, everybody at some point or time in their life has thought about that rich uncle or rich aunt that they don't know that passes away and leave them something of monetary value. But what is the importance of that as we look at it? I prefer Webster's second definition because it reads, something transmitted by or received from an ancestor or predecessor or from the past. This is something that goes beyond the bounds of just a monetary value. We could be talking about these things also in the physical, in the mental, in the physiological, and the spiritual. In today's world, we have many entities that have created monetary value and programs and platforms for us to be able to leave a legacy of items to our loved ones after our departure from this life. There are post-mortem wills where one may leave his family or friends, monies, land, homes, pets, and at times even their own remains in the form of an urn with ashes in it, or sometimes, unfortunately, with modern man's thinking, cryogenic capsules looking to one day be resurrected in the physical. Man, since the beginning of his time, which states in Genesis, has been enthralled by his own legacy. What I want to do today, though, is I want to ask each of us, what is the vision of our legacy? We must envision our legacy because the word educates us that in Proverbs 29:18, it conditions, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. See, there is a promise in there, because even though it states that there's where no vision is, that the people perish, but it says that he that does have a vision and keep the law, they will be happy. This is just one statement that sets up a theme throughout the scriptures, promising a good life if we envision a lifetime of legacy of spiritual righteousness. As a member of the body of Christ, I want to talk the talk, but even more so, I want to walk the walk of a saint that is separate, holy, and grounded in the vision of where the Lord views me to be. First of all, I am a representative of Jesus Christ to my family and the whole world around me and everything that I do. Second of all, I am an ambassador to the kingdom of heaven, to all the saints, old and new, whether someone has been at the church and living for God for 50 years, or whether they've been in church and they've been living for God for 5 days, just as a young woman that was blessed with the gift of the Holy Ghost last night, after being baptized 3 days ago on Sunday in a water burial. Third, I'm a minister of compassion and love to all of my neighbors in my community, to people that I run into, whether I'm at the store or whether I'm at a ball game with my children. And lastly, I am a servant of righteousness to my compatriots at my place of work or education. Now, it isn't specifically in this order with some of these things, because while I'm living for the Lord, I'm all of these. The thing is, I want my children to envision and see what I have in life that they can glean off of. I want my children and my children's children to be affected by the choices that I make and the blessings that I receive today to be and have a prosperous tomorrow. Finally, the Lord promises our walk today does affect our heritage of tomorrow. From the standard of training in righteousness or unrighteousness that we pass down, one of these we will sow into the fabric of our legacy. Do we want an estate of righteousness or an estate of unrighteousness? In Deuteronomy 5:9-10, and this is the Amplified version, it reads, "You shall not make for yourself an idol as an object to worship or likeness, form, manifestation of what is in heaven above, on earth beneath, or in the water underneath the earth. You shall not worship them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous and passionate God, demanding what is rightfully and uniquely mine, visiting and avenging the iniquity of sin and guilt of your fathers on the children, that is calling the children to account for their sins of their fathers, the third and fourth generations of those that hate me, but showing graciousness to loving kindness to thousands of generations of those who love me and keep my commandments." The Lord Jesus Christ wants us to envision ourselves not just today where we're at, but who's going to be speaking of us 100 years from now, 120 years from now, 200 years from now if the Lord tarries. What is my legacy? Is it going to be one of righteousness? That's what I want to envision myself. I want to see my future being something that is carried on through my sons, through my daughters, for an eternity, all the way into heaven. I thank you for listening, and I pray that all of you have been blessed by this message. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Reverend Mundon, for that awesome message. It is true, our legacy, what we leave behind, what we actually provide for, is of vital importance in God's kingdom. So thank you so much for bringing that message to us here at God's Plan Is Now. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. We do appreciate your support. Don't forget to continue to like us and share our page. If you want to go check out the website, it is a very long web link. I'm not even going to lie. It's www.godsplanisnow.wix site. That's wixsite.com/GPIN. If you want to make it simple, just go to our Facebook page, click on our website, go there and like it. It'll allow for you to actually email us, get in touch with us, and mainly I have the website there, so when you do a Google search, it'll locate our site a lot faster by doing it that way. So thank you all so much. Don't forget to tune in here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a great message. I know God is going to provide you guys with some enthusiastical encouragement, and I'm so excited to see what he's going to do for you guys. So thank you so much. This is Russ Conway signing out.